Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Today is a Truth Tuesday. Doomsday planes are flying. The stock market's crashing. It's really exciting. So I'll be right back with my buddy Satoshi Sean right after this. Happy Tuesday, Sean. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just looking at this stuff from our last week's show on my channel. It says video is blocked. Your Truth Tuesday with the Truth Warriors, Satoshi Sean, Litecoin Lisa, is blocked due to one or more copyright claims.
Copyright claims?
Yeah. Now the email I got said it was Paramount that did it.
And you think that's at Jon Stewart?
It is. It's the Daily Show content found at this time. Video cannot be seen or monetized. It's blocked in all territories. Even though I saw that other places, but like we said, I should have commented on it. It would have then I kind of used it under fair use, but whatever.
So we had a exciting Labor Day weekend. I'm here in Oklahoma, and we have Tinker Air Force Base, and people were taking pictures that the Doomsday plane, I guess, was flying around or landed. I don't know if it was being serviced or refueled here at Tinker, but was in the area, seen in the area. So that was kind of exciting. And then today, I guess the Dow just closed at 3 our time and lost over $1 trillion. And now NVIDIA is being investigated or something. All at the closing, like all this stuff just happened just within the last hour or so.
Yeah, I think September is going to be rough. Very rough.
Looks like it. Bix was doing a show and talking about all these like unrealized things for the bank and whatever. Anyway, everybody should go over there and watch all that. And they've been, he's been screaming about it for a while and telling everybody to watch out that it's coming. And this is that, they're like, it's the fiscal year end or whatever for all the, financial stuff and all that. So
something really weird. I guess you could call it a conspiracy. And I heard the best term ever by this really smart guy. He's like his physics professor that's making the rounds. But he said that when people are no longer questioning things and they're not responsible conspiracy theorists, so they basically, because he's like, that's what science is. It's investigative, which is what the conspiracy part is, and then you figure stuff out. You see, when people are just, when they say trust the science, that's not what science is.
Right.
Science is total mistrust, and you have to figure it out. But that people we need more responsible conspiracy theorists. I thought that was
critical thinking is dead. So yeah, we're trying to bring that back for sure. The kids were doing an exercise today that I thought was really cool. They had like, now I can't remember all the words for it, but it's like DTCCR. There were 5 DTCCR. Yeah, there were 5 like critical thinking skills, and they had like a subject in science or research. They called it was their science thread. And this week we're doing, I think they were told, oh God, it's been a long day. I think they can choose a different kind of fish or something. And then they had bubbles, and they had to do like comparison.
DDT?
No, it was like each bubble was like, okay, around the fish. Like one of them was comparison, was one of the C's. One was, so then they got to go up and write like comparisons. And so they were like, well, what do you compare or contrast a fish? You could compare it to other animals or humans or whatever. And so it's like it's a way to like brainstorm for writing papers about whatever your subject is of your paper. And so like oh gosh, I can't even remember. I'm so brain
Yeah,
fried.
I was
Tuesday,
just
sorry.
looking for something and I forgot what I was looking for.
Anyway, but it's all this about teaching kids to have critical thinking in science and in their papers. And so using these 5 different critical thinking skills.
You
It
know,
was great. to get excited.
their RFK saying a lot on like other networks about the food. Did you see that? Where he
Yeah,
was
the seed oils. He's been talking about the seed.
and then he said that our FDA allows the number. It's over 1,000 chemicals
Yes.
that are illegal.
You were talking about this when I first started doing shows with you because you've lived overseas and how the foods are not allowed in Germany and they look different here in the US. And
I didn't, but I mean, it's not like 20. It's over 1,000 different chemicals that are allowed in our food, and they're illegal. It's not like frowned upon. I mean, that just blows my mind. And with being on this diet, it's been like hard to because I just eat like eggs, and I eat like sardines, blushing, fish. I can't even eat red meat. You know, they raised the price of eggs 300% in the past. And on the debates, they're like groceries are up 20%. If you're on keto, bro, and you're eating eggs, it went from $6.99 for a big 60-pack to now it's like $19 in a few months. That's 300%.
Wow.
It's yeah.
You know, the other thing, speaking of science and myths and truths and all this, and money, this guy.
There's now clear evidence of NASA using numerous methods to grossly mislead the public about astronauts being on the International Space Station. During interior ISS scenes from NASA's own live feed, the use of wires, harnesses, green screens, and virtual reality have been detected to achieve the appearance of a weightless environment. Examples of this include astronauts fading in and out of the screen, green screen glitches, grabbing objects that aren't really there, pulling on invisible wires, getting tangled in their harnesses, and even astronauts appearing out of thin air. This begs the obvious question. If they're really up there, why are they using Hollywood techniques to fake the footage? Now, unfortunately, I can't show you these clips in here today, but I will be sending them to you. Outside the International Space Station, during spacewalks, air bubbles have been recorded on numerous occasions. How is it possible for air bubbles to be present in the vacuum of space? I once questioned astronaut Scott Kelly about this phenomenon. His body language and answers only created more questions. In 2013, astronaut Luca Parmitano nearly drowned during a spacewalk when his helmet filled with water. This happened again just last year. Air bubbles, helmets filling with water, and drowning. Are they in space or are they underwater? Now, what's really interesting is that they trained for spacewalks in an underwater pool with a complete ISS replica. Now, surely they aren't filming these spacewalks in an underwater pool and then editing them to appear if they're in space, because that sure would be something, wouldn't it? I'm calling on the Brevard County Commissioners to open a full investigation into NASA's fraudulent practices and use of taxpayer dollars. It costs NASA $3 billion per year to operate the ISS, and if they don't have a darn good explanation as to why they're faking these videos, I and the public would like a darn good explanation as to where our tax money is going. And if they are indeed faking the funk, it is our duty to expose and eliminate this fraudulent and astronomically wasteful ISS program. And look, I know what you're all thinking. The NASA is part of the federal government, and you're just county commissioners. Even if what I'm saying is true, what can you do? But let me remind you, not only is this happening in your county, as public officials, you have the platform and the ability to make a statement or hold a press conference, alerting the public, state, and federal authorities to investigate further. You have the power to start the conversation. Video evidence of everything I described today will be emailed to you all, and I truly hope we can get to the bottom of this. I look forward to the day that $3 billion annual budget is put towards our veterans, our homeless, maybe some of that mental health stuff the young lady just spoke about, and the revitalization of Brevard County.
What did you say, Sean?
So look at all the people that are there listening to it. No one. This is like the biggest. That should be huge. Should be huge.
Yeah.
I was supposed to have a real big guy on for interview this week, but he stood me up. So I'm kind of mad about that. But and if I can get him on, which I should be able to, should be able to tap into some big names like senators, because he's got all the connections. He has a show on the Blaze. Do you know Alex Stein?
I don't.
Primetime 99, Pimp on a Blimp.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he rescheduled like 3 times, and then I didn't go to the doctor for the emergency room because I was going to do the show, but then I went Thursday because he said Friday, promise, and then he hasn't been on, so I don't know. Hopefully I get him on. But yeah, Jim, he's a funny guy. But
do you have him booked again? Rebooked?
No, because he told me Friday, and I was like, okay, what time Friday? Just tell me. And I hadn't heard back from him yet, so it's hard to catch him when he's online.
It is exciting, though. It does seem like a lot of stuff's coming out. I did a show on Friday talking about the stuff that the token holders, the very token holders, a bunch of people from the community, just a really organic group had gone through some of the documents. They're all public documents from when the SEC went after Veritasium, and they found a bunch of like really interesting things. And now they've kind of collabed and put them all together on an IPFS server to make, they're already public documents, but they kind of put them all together for everybody to kind of see and draw attention to that. And I think there's going to be a couple more interviews on different channels to bring more attention to it and try to get, they're asking people to, write to their congressmen and women or senators and have them look into it. Very similar to some of the stuff that was, that some senators brought attention to, the debt box stuff and, just some truth tellers going on out there. So
Truth Warriors.
Truth Warriors. Yes, Sean and his Truth Warriors song that you made. There was something else on. This guy did this video and I didn't know how I felt about it. I guess he's, people are bitter about, they're turning against each other and we don't want that. But he's like, you're seeing there's a couple of places where these Venezuelan gangs have supposedly come in and.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I have a lot of comments on that.
Okay, well, so let me kind of set the stage. I have a question for you about this because I think we really need to support each other and be Americans on this. And I heard that like the Hells Angels were going in somewhere and they were like, well, the only way that would happen is if you're messing with somebody's mama or their girl or whatever. And I thought it was kind of cool that the Hells Angels were going in and protecting Americans and all that. And then I heard that in another apartment complex or somewhere, I don't know if it was in Chicago or also in Colorado, that they weren't. And this one guy got on, he's like, you know what? No, we're not coming to protect you because the way you voted and you didn't care during COVID and you wished my family dead. And so you don't vote and support guns. And so don't ask me to come protect you now. And I was like, whoa. Like, we're not going to not protect people because they didn't vote for guns in the past. I'm not going to wish someone dead.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to comment on. You would if you were at war. And isn't what you just described what we're being pushed to whenever there's...
So you saying that is what Civil War...
That's what it would be. That's what they would say. That's what the call would be. You made your bed, lie in it, and it's not fair because it's like 49%, of that state voted one way. But there's certain things that I heard, words that I heard that the Hells Angels use. First off, the Aurora police said, no, nothing's happening, everything's fine. Don't look at this, don't look at this. But then there was those videos from like security cameras of the Venezuelans coming up with, gun, like they had AKs, they had AR-15s, and they were moving through this apartment complex. Is this ghetto, supposedly, low-income house, ghetto kind of, everybody has them in your town, the Section 8 housing, the cheap housing. There's always been crime there, and the police are like, yeah, it's a crime area. It's always had been a crime area. But supposedly it was taken over. And I mean, we've had, I was talking to Alex about it when it was starting up, and there was supposedly like 1,000 Hells Angels going there. But we had it happen in when it was Oregon or Washington, where they took over and they made that, the police completely backed out and they made their own town during the Summer of Love, a couple of years ago. A couple people got killed. They had their anarchy in the town. Everybody had, all the citizens left. But I had heard these weird things, but then I saw this video of a Hell's Angel, supposedly. He said, we're coming for you. And what's going to happen is when all of the veterans see what we do and that no charges are pressed, everyone, this is going to change. This is going to change the country. And he said, no charges will be pressed. So to me, that means either they're being played or it was a complete psyop. But I think that may have been to draw out the first strikers, the people who would go and light the tinder mat, go and light the fire to get things started, get them out of the way. But
some of our friends in the chat are saying that the Hells Angel video was from 2013.
Well, there's a lot of them. See, the ones where there's like thousands of bikers, maybe, but there's people that were like, we started out with 8 people, and now we're up to 27. But I went to bed. I was like,
do you remember the trucker videos? And they were like, there were some real weird ones with weird like lighting and all that, and they were like, yeah, we're on our way to DC and blah blah. And then, like, it never happened.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was like, you're going to go to Aurora, first thing you're going to fight the cops. Their cops are going to be,
Right. Some of it is to hear people up to think things are going to happen, but then they never do.
But it's not like a little town. It's a decent-sized town. But what you described is what would be the argument. That's what's so weird, because it's not North versus South. It's such a it's almost citywide. Like
it is. It's like big city situation.
Like we would be going to Austin and kicking the Californians out. Which I was wondering about that. If Texas did secede, which is a big movement, would we deport the Californians? I mean, it's just, there's so many questions where it's such a weird place. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was very, very interesting. That this helped. You should look on the video up, or I can if you want to talk about the next thing. I'll see if I can find it, because this guy he was talking about he was talking about Aurora, Colorado. It wasn't from today. He was like, and no charges are going to be pressed or brought. When the millions of veterans, it was like a plan. It's like, we're going to do this. We're going to wake people up. And when they see that they're not going to press charges.
But is that because nothing's going to happen or nothing is happening?
Why would a Hell's Angel going to kill migrants?
Because they're not really there. It's not really happening.
No, why would he think that there are no charges going to be brought? They had to be told something, or it's just all completely fake.
I'm saying it's all completely fake.
It has been all.
Yes.
Or they were trying to goat them out to have, like, if 2,000 people roll up and they put them away in a camp or wherever, either way, it would be the beginning of one thing or the other. So many people don't think we're going to make it to November. But
well, I've been saying that since the beginning, and I totally think that. Also, somebody was talking about that, like, there's something where, like, if Joe steps down or gets out, then there's something where, like, the SEC chair would have to step down, like if Kamala steps in before, so that Kamala would, like, put in her own SEC chair or something.
People are starting to care about things that we've cared about that had no idea what the SEC was. Had any, no idea. But because people are starting to put it into terms they understand, like every single one of my heroes growing up, sports heroes, let me down. One of them is a lady now, and Pete Rose. Pete Rose, all he did was bet on baseball, and that was it. They kicked him out of the Hall of Fame. It's all because athletes are not allowed to even bet on sports where they have any connection to it, because they can affect the outcome. And then people are saying, if they can't, why can senators invest in farmers?
Yeah,
it's especially, and it was this dude did a great video. It was the top earners, like Marjorie Taylor Greene was on there, but she only made like 22%. But they showed the stocks that they're going for, because if we did pass a law to make it, they have to be transparent. This one dude pulled all of his money and all of his stock out of this bank 24 hours before the FDIC foreclosed on it. And he's on that committee. Yeah. And nobody talked about it. No, it's not a big deal. That's not a coincidence. That is not a coincidence. There's coincidences, and then if there's too many, then it's a pattern. Just the way it is.
What's a cold CW?
We have been. We did a show on that. We have been in a cold civil war for a long time.
Oh.
We've called it different thing. We called it a culture war. Cold culture war, yeah. Called it a culture war.
A color revolution.
And there's so many. I can always say, I wish if I go back in time, dude, I would have studied philosophy as a child, because there's so many things that it's just basic. It's you divide and conquer, and we're so divided.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, women hate men hate women, blacks hate whites. It's like everything, and we've gotten down. Which there's always been tension in all those areas, but we've gotten down to now. It's this like color. Politics was like a joke, and now there's like your own family to be like, oh, I don't love you anymore. You're a terrible person.
Well, and isn't it crazy when you think about luxury has a lot of times been about traveling and experiencing other culture, and thinking like we were watching I don't know if it's a new Tarzan movie, but it's like real people, and it's Jane and Tarzan, and she grows up and she loves and embraces the tribe in Africa, and they're really dark skinned, and she thinks they're so beautiful, and they talk, their language is different, and you can just see the love she has for this other culture and how she's raised and whatever, and you can see the richness in her life because she experiences this other culture and how they eat and live and whatever. And I think how rich her life is, and like, how things were back then and whatever. And people, I have a friend that she's the tutor at school, and she traveled all over the world as a missionary. And I think of how rich her life is because she, lived in Croatia and went and taught in Germany and went all these places. And I think of like all of that. And then I think of how we're taught to hate, and they divide us by skin color, culture, religious ideas. And it's like, no, no, no. We would be more rich by embracing and appreciating other cultures, races, experiencing all of that. And instead, they want to dumb us down and keep us poor and not wealthy by not experiencing those things. You know what I mean? Like the more they divide us and keep us dumb and isolated, they are robbing us from experiencing that richness of each other's cultures. I just it is the ultimate like theft of knowledge. I mean, you know, you've lived all over the world.
Yeah. And that's so there's some, here it is. I found it. The Swedish deputy prime minister made a huge debate on Muslim migrants.
Want me to share it?
Wow, yeah, I can share it. The basic thing is, there we go. I had to get the right one. I'll send it.
Are you doing it in chat? Or?
Yeah, the private chat. There we go. Got so many things open. Sorry. So it's a very simple thing, but this used to be what America was, and when it was a melting pot. And I remember when they tried to tell me in second grade that it's not a melting pot; it's a salad bowl. And I was like, why? And they said because people have all their own cultural identities. Everyone's different, and I'm like, no. What was I like? I was 7, and I said, no, that's not how it works. We blend together, and we're Americans. We're become American. You're not an Italian, you know. And now the whole Italian American, Irish American, you're just an American. But I don't know what happened. You got to add
blocker.
This deputy, she said that Islam must adapt to Swedish values. Muslims do not integrate, must leave the country.
We've talked about this before.
Honor killings, beheadings, stoning of women, Sharia law has no place here. That's like a basic statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you click on something else?
Well, so what I did is I clicked on. Hold on. I can show this.
That's
what you wanted to show.
You can see it where she says Islam was a desperate shot.
Okay.
The basic idea. And when I thought about it, you know, we have this culture of entitlement, which was all first world country before, we have, you know, a lot of shit generation. But the audacity to be fleeing from persecution in a country that you are running away from to a stable country that will take you in, and then to demand that that country bow to you and your ways is ridiculous. That's just crazy talk. So this is what America was. This is what every country was. Hey, we'll take you in. You're poor, you're tired. But we have a constitution, we have a set of values. We'll come and be an American. They're like, oh no, I want to you know, I don't want my woman to talk. I think some country, Afghanistan. You know what they banned? Do you know what they just passed a law banning?
Not having women talk. Yeah, I heard.
Women's voice.
Their voice, is too enticing for men or something.
They're not allowed to. I don't know what the reason is, but they banned.
Yeah, that's what it is. That
sound of women's voices. Yeah. So I don't think you're not allowed to play like a song, like music. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about that. That's nuts. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's the culture, man. That's the culture. and they don't. That's why. And when everything was going crazy like years ago, like when they were saying like facts don't matter, it's so we can get to this point now where you could say, look at these facts. There's like 4,000% more rapes. So that this is the reason. Look at how crime is going up here in America, but it's going down in all the countries where people are going from, because they're sending criminals and insane people here. They're sending the worst. They're clearing out and cleaning out their country, and they're sending the worst of the people up here. So but this is like she sparked a big debate that but that's how every country. If we're going to take you in and allow you to come into our country and like give you citizenship, you need to be a Swede. You need to be an American. You need to be whatever. To say, and you can do what you want in your own house. That's what the crazy thing is that you can make your wife not talk. If that's your religion and she doesn't want it, then you're fine. But it's in your own house, and you can't go and affect other people. It just to me it just blows my mind that we're at this point now.
That is crazy. The whole thing is crazy. I am seeing a change, like where I really don't go on Facebook very much, but since we started doing the store in Greenwood, we use Facebook Marketplace for some of that, and so I've gone on there more to share and stuff. And where I have some friends that they wouldn't say SHIT if their mouth was full of it, and all of a sudden they are speaking out, and they are standing up and saying like, I've had enough. I think their groceries are finally, like, they're having trouble taking care of their families. Like, they have had enough, and they are speaking up, and they're really, I'm really starting to see, like, even though they didn't say anything during COVID, they also couldn't see their grandmothers. They couldn't see their, people died. They lost their jobs, all that kind of stuff. None of that mattered.
People bury their head in the sand, but once, like, the tide comes in, they know they're drowning. So they could say the economy's great, but you can't argue with when your own life is being affected. That's what my kids was. I don't care about politics, but it doesn't affect me. Make video games price go up, okay, I care. But now everything is we have a lot less. I mean, our frivolities of like groceries are gone.
Right. Right. When you're talking about groceries and not vacations anymore, it's not vacations. This is not Disneyland and, what are you buying the kids for Christmas? This is, can you afford to eat this week?
We just got 2 quarts of oil. Remember at the gas station when we went to the hospital? It was $20. $9.80 or $9.99 for a quart of oil.
Yeah.
It's
a significant.
Bring that one other thing I brought up.
Okay.
I think
we got to jump over to your channel because
after that. But look, I wanted you to hopefully hear this if it's the right one.
Hold on. Let's see.
Well, you can play both of them. Hit the guy on the right.
The guy on the right.
2 Venezuelan gangs.
Oh, hit the right, the left. I'm sorry. The left. So you can see it's
We started out with 9 this morning. We ended up with 10 more headed west. Catch y'all later.
9.
So he's talking about on the way. Now hit the other one.
This morning.
And then this other one, it's
Gangs in
specifically
Aurora, Colorado that took over those apartment complexes. They're about to be met by the Hells Angels. And when the Hells Angels takes care of business and the 16.2 million veterans see that there was no criminal charges against the Hells Angels, that there was no prosecution against the Hells Angels, then we're going to see that when that enemy starts rocking and rolling, we can go take care of business without no criminal charges because we're just defending our country, just like the Constitution says. And thank God we don't got a fucking musket because I got an AR-15 with a 100-round drum that I can cook that barrel after 2 drums. Drop that. I got AK-47, 7.62 by 39. I can hit a camel running at 375 yards, open sights.
Oh my
And I'm just one crazy mother effer out of 16.2 million. Lock and load. I think it's time. 2 Venezuela,
So his point was that it's his constitutional right,
Colorado that took over those.
and that he's God. Because it is so his point is that because he's being invaded, which this was the same point that Abbott used.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's an invasion, there would be no charges. And Abbott used the same argument of why that when there was the court case and all that, that's why he would be able to keep the wall up, and that was upheld in court.
Yes, because I remember we talked about it.
Yeah,
I said eventually, because I talked about it with Trump. Remember, I said because if they find him guilty and they try to take him, their Secret Service will have to say no.
Yeah,
you got law enforcement to law enforcement, or they're going to have to go with him, which is against the law. You can't, you know what I mean? It's like if your wife gets arrested, you can't go with her like to the emergency room. You can't. Okay, I'll go with her. No. Yeah. So they would have to go to jail, to prison with him. They'd have to constant. So it's all these things that should never happen. And when it was the Texas thing, we had Texas law enforcement cutting the wire, and then there was federal agents that were. It was technically against the law. They were supposed to arrest him, and they did not. So yeah, you're right.
But it's all this education, constitutional education of America, which is happening, which is, and Bix, don't get mad, but he's probably not watching. That is all that NESARA, GESARA stuff. This is the constitutional education of America. So hopefully we're all paying attention.
There's massive dissension in the Supreme Court. Massive. Mm-hmm. They hate that woman. I'm sorry, that African American person who didn't know what a woman was, and they still gave her the position in the Supreme Court to vote on women's rights when she couldn't say what a woman was.
What a woman was.
That was it. I'm like, oh, she can't. She's going to go to the Supreme Court and literally make laws. You're sorry about Roe v. Wade? Who cares, man? She didn't know what a woman was, and you let her go into the Supreme Court. When I watched her confirmation, and they asked her that, she said, "I'm not a biologist." Okay, then you're going to be deciding on the rights of women. You have to know what one is, but no. But she gave a like what's it called when they give their statement, like I forget what it's called. Someone in the chat. No, when their opinion.
Oh.
She wrote an opinion after a law, after they made a ruling, and then I think Thomas. So yeah, I think it was Clarence Thomas, who was also an African American. Wrote scathing reply to it and said that she has the victim mentality and cannot get over slavery from 200 years ago, and that is her. Like it was just, and it's out there. He put it out there. It is rough. That never happened. Even with Muhammad Ali, when he wouldn't go to when he was avoiding the draft, it wouldn't go to Vietnam. There was big infighting in the Supreme Court. It's one of that learning what happened at that time gave me so much faith in the Supreme Court, because there were just terrible racist judges and they hated him, but they knew what the law was and knew what the Constitution was, and they put it all aside, and they're like, we've got to let him do it. We got to side with him. So I always had like I've always said, the Supreme Court's the only thing holding this country together. But now, when Thomas put that out there, that blew my mind.
Well, let's jump over to your channel and see what you have to share with us.
Okay.
And you guys follow us over there. Give us a like here before you leave. And we'll see you over on Satoshi Sean's channel for the second half of Truth Tuesday.